Hey everyone, and welcome to the 14th Chasm devlog. If you are unaware, Chasm is a dungeon crawler game with tons of lore and a unique combat system. Most games actually look good, and in that regard, Chasm is not most games. The problem isn't the graphics themselves, it's the way they are rendered. While messing around in import settings in Godot, I found a way to import art as 2D pixel rather than just 2D. I set it as my default, and I re-imported the stone enemy art using this setting. It went from a blurry mess to sharp, beautiful pixel art. It was wonderful, and you know what else is wonderful? Subscribing. Anyway, I went through dozens of files, re-importing them, and it took ages, but now the game actually looks good. Flying Zucchini had a cool idea to add pop-down text at the beginning of each level showing the level's name. A lot of really cool, good games that Chasm takes a lot of inspiration from, such as Enter the Gungeon, have this, and I thought it would be really just a nice thing to add to Chasm. I spent a while trying to add this, and I wrestled with many bugs, but I finally got it to work. The current 4 levels are named the Caves, the Outposts, the Caverns, and the Quarries, respectively. The name will slide down from above, gradually slowing, and then fade out. I think the animation looks nice, but you should leave your opinion in the comments. I noticed now that the running animations played even when the player stood still, and so I wanted to change that. I simply made the animation pause when the player stopped. I also made it play slower when the player is stuck in spiderwebs, and it looks pretty good. When the player stopped again though, the animation continued, so I spent some time fixing this. The solution was eventually to check whether any inputs were being pressed, and that the player could still move, so they weren't falling into the void, and if they weren't pressing inputs, but they could have been and been moving, then it would disable the animation so that it wouldn't play. A good story makes a good game. I talked about this in a video that you should certainly watch after this one. I haven't finished Chasm's story yet, so I added another page to the storybook. The storybook doesn't actually contain the background story and legends behind the Chasm. It documents the warrior's progress through the Chasm. I think that is an interesting idea, but I'm still trying to find some way to work the history and legends in, because I think that would be interesting for the player to learn about. During the entire development time, a shadow has lurked over me. The shadow's name is marketing. If you somehow don't know, indie game marketing is a nightmare, especially when you have no budget to spend. To illustrate this point, I'm going to tell you the story of Musketfish, a game I released last October. I never made Musketfish devlogs. Instead, whenever I added something new, I posted on Twitter. It was getting a lot of engagement, and my account grew a ton, so I thought it was doing pretty well. Twitter is awesome for game marketing, provided you do it right. But I didn't. My engagement was from bots and random people. I never saw returning users. So while I was getting engagement, I wasn't building interest. This engagement would have a tiny conversion rate. On October 24th, I released Musketfish. It got 2 purchases, and that's what it has to this day. I completely failed my marketing scheme. Making Chasm devlogs keeps me motivated, but it also gains a small YouTube following for me. This following is, I hope, actually interested in the game, and maybe there's a small chance that somebody will buy it when it comes out. My plan is to charge $3, but there will be a giveaway in our Discord server when the game releases. YouTube gets much more returning viewership, and I need to take advantage of that. I'm also going to consult my team on whether the price should be lower or higher, but I'll probably keep it at my current plan. If you are an indie dev planning on releasing a game soon, take this tip. Don't focus only on one site. Promote your game across many sites. Otherwise, when one site fails, so does your game. Future Games has never released a hit game. Our total revenue is $43. A good game does not market itself, and that's what I'm worried about with Chasm. I've worked very hard on it, as has my team, and it would be a shame to just see it completely flop. It's especially hard to market games when massive studios are making free games that people would rather play anyway, and they can get them without even paying. That's it for this devlog. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and follow us on Twitter for constant updates.